we typically have on here, Project Die Hard Mission Monday update. Did not get out onto our live stream. So I was aware of the situation earlier, and I just have been booked up until this moment, coming on here as I can. And we typically have my wife Sue on here and our president Brian Gibson on here. And so this is an unusual Monday here on St. Patrick's Day. So I hope all of you out there are having some way to enjoy the day, just because we should be able to have some enjoyment or something rewarding of every day, and whether it's relaxing or being able to get over quite a day. And that's kind of what we have here today. We've known that my wife Sue is not going to be here, and because she is out at an event she's committed to. And then things came up for Brian that he announced that he was out for the show. And we have our chaplain, Dave. We know he's on shift with his other assignments. And we always are reaching out there to get more help. And, we just go with what we got, so we always figure that the people who are meant to be involved are meant to. And I guess this is my chance to step up, come into the mission of Project Die Hard, and to get a message out to you today. For all I know, in the last 50 minutes, we might have had some other friends that came in here trying to get in and waiting to join in. I know Santa Papa John was going to try, and so I don't know if he tried and gave up because I was in here. I had things coming up around here that I had to tend to. And so we just do what we can when we can. We do the best, and we've had quite a track record here. We've been able to give you a Mission Monday pretty religiously, as they say, in terms of being able to have Sue on here cranking it up at 6:30, or when she's not available, Brian's been able to come in here. And so I typically attend an event with the Happy Neighborhood Project, a posting party, which allows me to, with a group of about 8 other people, to go ahead and get them attracted to my social media feeds, my LinkedIn profile, which I tend to share a lot of our mission here, doing a lot of reposting, and a lot going on here. We're enjoying a lot of work by our partner of the Disability Channel, resource partner, and with Jay Stoyan. We are working on the Veterans First Initiative for June 7th. So that is a Saturday, first Saturday in June. And so we have People for a New America is heading that up, and working with Jay Stoyan. And we have this Tom Kaz with, I Love Whiskey Town. They got a barbecue sauce that my wife just ordered because this guy, has this available, is Tom, and out of Alabama. So that's looking to be one of the sites that we're broadcasting and having a program for, with this Veterans First Initiative fundraiser to support digital ventures with their resource partner, the Disability Channel, with the work we do at Forward Operating Base Rush for right here at Project Die Hard. And then with the Veterans First Initiative, the objective of having funds from the fundraiser put towards cards, gift cards, that veterans will be able to use for what they need. So we got that in the works, a lot of planning, a lot of people showing interest to be involved. I've connected to a gentleman by the name of Bob Holmes, the one-man volleyball team, Beat Bob, beatbob.com. And so he goes out around the country to be a person, a player that is one player on one side of the net. And then he takes on 6 players on the other side of the net. And, so there's 6 players that he's done it where he's got a list of pro football teams, NFL football teams, where players go in there, and so the different teams are represented, and he goes ahead and beats them. So if you go to beatbob.com, you can see a video showing coverage of these events. And these events he does, he addresses teen suicide, and he addresses drugs and alcohol and bullying and, you know, stuff like that. So I actually was talking to my teenager. I have a 16-year-old here, and we were talking about different things, and I referenced what I'm involved with. And so you never know when you got to reach for things like the suicide hotline and practices like QPR is question, persuade, refer. So when we're around people who might be in this type of thought process of suicide ideation, um, you know the preparations that I've had, people have been sharing with me that we need to take every conversation seriously in terms of when people might be expressing these thoughts, and to get the people involved that need to be involved. I used to be an EMT, and as an EMT, you'd be trained as EMT basic, EMT IV tech, paramedic, so on and so forth. And the rule of thumb is you always want to get people to someone of equal or greater qualifications, until they get all the help they need. And especially on the issue of suicide, we always want to get the person that presents themselves in that way, or even possibility. That's why Q is question. So we ask the questions to check our thoughts, and if we're not sure, you always move ahead. They call that pertinent negatives. You don't rule anything out until you get the information and everything is 100% contrary to the possibility. I had experienced that as a cardiac patient. I had heart issues, and this goes back 20 years ago. And, I was an EMT at the time, and went to the ER, and happened to get medical control, on as my doctor. So I'm going in, and the guy who trains me as an EMT is taking care of me. And he's talking to me kind of like he knows I can understand. He's like, I can't rule out cardiac. And so he got a cardiologist on the line. And sure enough, up to that point, I was on respiratory medicine. And so I'm very appreciative of being a recipient of somebody practicing the protocol of pertinent negatives to make sure of things until you get 100% confidence that you have the evidence and you can document it and do all the things, share it with other people, whatever, that it's 100% ruled out. If there's any realm of possibility, we need to move forward. So here at Project Die Hard, we are in need of all the things. The needs we have is for people to be involved. And, the risk here is that when we ask for volunteers, people just take a pass, because people by and large don't want to take on a commitment that they can't uphold, which we appreciate that. Because here at Project Die Hard, we practice the adage of, when you say you've got it, you've got it. Don't think anybody else is going to do it. You've got it. Like me coming on to this live stream, I'm going to be running a bit past, because I've only got 9.5 minutes in so far. So I'm going to add in some extra thoughts, and then we'll wrap up here. But we are in need of volunteerism, and right now we're not getting it in any significant fashion anyway. So I appeal to all of you out there, even if you've only got an hour here or there. In my practices of volunteerism and trying to roust up volunteers, I ask people to say, what does it look like 5 hours a month? So, like, let's look at this podcast. We're on here every Monday, and say there's even, like this month, 5 Mondays in the month, and we're here for an hour. We're supposed to be on here for an hour of live streaming with this show, and say that could be a way somebody helps. Just come and hang here and add to the conversation. Be a part of this. Just look, if we had another person as part of our podcasting team, we could have had a podcast starting at 6:30. We do not have enough people in our team. And, to me, I'm here because I am serious about, hey, 8 billion people on the planet. We have a serious issue here that in the history of 175 billion people on the planet, we have never solved this issue of veteran suicide. It has not been solved by anybody. President Trump can't claim it. You can't claim Health and Human Services ever. VA can't claim it. Brian Gibson can't claim it. Project Die Hard can't claim it. None of us have solved the issue of veteran suicide. And that to me is a catastrophe. That's a pandemic. That's an epidemic. It's something plaguing all of us. Sure, the stats are the veterans that we've lost to suicide, but to me, that's the tip of the iceberg. That's the symptom. It's, Brian, was a medic, with the Army, and I was an EMT. The idea is you get these signs and symptoms, but you have to put it all together to say, what are we really doing? You get a working diagnosis, and then you offer some treatments, and you start to put it all into play, and you keep, you keep getting your vitals, and you keep seeing how you're doing, if things improved or if you're working against what you're trying to solve. And that's what we're doing here on the issue of veteran suicide. So we have a forward operating base rush in McCann, Illinois, that we've been working on for a few years to get this thing where it needs to be, and it is a slow going, ever so slow. It's really a test of patience, and it's a test of resource. It's a test of mental capacity to look at that we have this treasure of 20 acres of property, a 10,000 square foot property that I've known about for over 2 years with Brian and everything going on here. I could have done a lot more. I sit here in a lot of woulda, coulda, shoulda. And I know, talking to Brian, I know Brian is always talking to me like, doggone it, Roscoff, go out there and, get the money coming in, because we're looking at Hope Stock. Hope Stock, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, in July 25th, 26th, 27th. And we've been talking about this for 5 months, and the last 3 months been, putting it out there pretty seriously. We got an op order to show, that we've got to have the budget for t-shirts. And, we got these bands that are all set up, ready to perform. And we're looking at March 17th and how to follow the op order and to, check all the boxes to make sure we're making the progress needed to keep the event of Hope Stock. And I think what happens is that people out there see a date of July 25th, 26th, 27th, and myself included, we procrastinate, don't we? We put it out of our minds because we got so much going on in our life that we got to figure out how we're going to get through the day, the week, the month, and so forth. So we do nothing. We do nothing because the date is out there. So I'm on here really letting you know that I'm calling out for help on behalf of Project Die Hard, on behalf of Brian Gibson, on behalf of the veterans, which a lot of people have heard the beat to that drum from right here, Project Die Hard, quite a bit. And if not a lot from here, Project Die Hard, for whatever reason, it just means you're not tuned into us as much, but from other places. And, I've addressed this in past Mission Monday shows in my commentary, that the mentality is so easy to say, I don't know exactly, or I don't know much. I don't even have a vague idea how I would help. So the idea is it's communication. I just think about stuff that I've been dealing about today and over the weekend and last week, So many of the things that I've been dealing with here in March has been about communication. It's like, you know, testing all of us, and even for myself to say, Brian can tell you, I could have done better to communicate to him as our president with my wife, Sue. I could have communicated better to her on stuff her and I are working on. This is just a priority item to communicate. So what I'm asking is my email address is Kurt, Kurt, at projectdiehard.org. Please email me. Even if it's like, Kurt, I really didn't know what you were all saying there, but it sounded good. It sounded like you were speaking from your heart. I got a little of it. Keep up the good work. I love what you're doing. Or I've got some thoughts. I don't know if it's helpful. I know a guy, I know a person, I know a group. You know, to me, we all got to do this together. I've said, I think Brian would have to agree. I've said probably 100 times in the last 2 years that it's an all hands on deck initiative. I was talking to a gentleman yesterday about, we're trying to get to some pretty influential people. We're trying to go for the big dogs. And we're talking through and working through the challenges and trying to attract these individuals who have a huge span of control and could just like really give us a quantum leap in what we're all trying to do here. And so I'm trying to address both at the same time. And when I mean both is I communicate that I expect two things to happen. One is that we keep asking ourselves how we're going to get to these people, because until somebody gives a flat out no way, Jose, nope, not going to do it. Until somebody says that, there's always a possibility. And, the leadership here is all about, if you don't ask, you're the one that created the no. So that's what I would like to have the opportunity to say. With whatever idea you have, whatever thought you have, I would like the opportunity to engage with you and to communicate. And it would be helpful here to get feedback. I served with an organization called Accessibility Wisconsin. They deal with these action track chairs, which a lot of injured, wounded veterans are benefiting from, to use these wilderness chairs, mobility wilderness chairs called action track chairs. It's a brand. So there's others out there under different brand names. But the idea is these mobility chairs are set that the tread tires that they have, or the tread tracks, like Army tank tracks, that they're able to go over branches and stuff and get people out into wilderness. And so the leadership of that team always told us as volunteers, no answer is not helpful. To a non-answer, like silence, is not helpful. They always said, give us something. Give us, even if it's like, I'm glad it was a sunny day outside. Tell us something. When you give us crickets, it's really unnerving, and that's where I'm coming into this issue of veteran suicide, the mission of Project Die Hard. We're out here on the live stream. I see 4 people are following. We've got somebody out at Sue's Facebook profile. Somebody's on the Facebook of Project Die Hard, which is good. We got a couple people on the YouTube. Please hit your keypad. If you're on your phone doing this, please use your keypad. Brian, if you're out there, Sue, if you're out there, Chaplain Dave, I think you're working, whoever's out there, I want to get this to the point where I see 4 people are tuning into the live, and that we're getting 4 people on the chat that we can have an interaction through our typing to spread this out. I'm asking each of you. See, now we got only 3. Somebody seemingly felt challenged, by my ask and moved on to something else, not getting anything out of what I'm saying. So that's where we need your help. What would make it more attractive to you? Because if I would know that, I could make that part of the presentation right now and ratchet this up to the 5th and the 6th and the 7th. We're all a team here, whether you're a viewer, a fan, a follower. we always say, pray for us. John Petro Sr., he's on. See how we do that? That lightens it up. I see his Facebook profile. I see his bright, shining face. And we went from 4 to 3 again. So we can make this exciting. We can get to a day where maybe we gamify it, whatever we got to do. But we say, pray for us, share our mission, volunteer, contribute time. John Petro Sr., he does a Revolutionize Your Marketing show, on Fridays. He does that at 4 Central, 5 Eastern. And he does that show. So one way, John, that you can serve Project Diehard is I'm doing this live stream to maybe direct people to projectdiehard.org. My email, Kurt@projectdiehard.org. Folks can, call or text me at 262 372 1754. 262 372 1754. So what we want to do is we want to think about, who do you know knows a veteran? Who do you know is a veteran? Who do you know has a sibling who's a veteran? Who do you know, maybe a teenager or, somebody's child who their parent is a veteran. We want to really roust up this veteran community, and more importantly, actually, is to roust up the civilian response, to roust up all the people that are not as much in these circles of the military or the veteran community, and to empower them to do like what my wife and I are doing. My parents were not in the military. I'm not a veteran. We have no direct connection to a veteran other than what we volunteered to have, working with Brian every day, and going out to Jay at the Disability Channel, where it's television buying with people with disabilities and veterans. We created our connection to the veteran community. I looked at, with what I do in life, what I accomplish, in a church, volunteering, educating myself, going out there and being a powerful citizen, doing great work, being a great business person, going out there and having fun, like water skiing, playing golf, you name it, whatever we're doing for fun. If all this is happening and none of that is possible for a veteran because they're not with us, because we left them alone and we didn't include them in the church activity, we didn't include them in the volunteer activity, we didn't find a way that they want to enter into, self-help, personal improvement, professional development with us. If we didn't find a way that they value their citizenship in a way that they go out there as an active citizen to partake in the community events and whatever, if we're not hiring our veterans, if we're not helping our veterans be entrepreneurs, if we're not helping our veterans have fun to get their minds off all the stuff we put in their minds, what's happening? What's our relationship? What's our personal value? What's our legacy? When we, come to a day where, it is, the end of life for us, and we're on our deathbed for, whatever health issues or, whatever it is, or we're in an extreme car crash that's a fatal crash, and we have these, final moments of our own. What are we really going to be thinking about, with what we did with our life? So we have a lot to worry about to take care of ourselves. They always say, take care of yourself first, because it's kind of hard to take care of someone else when your own self is not, where it needs to be. And we were taught that as EMTs: do not become the patient. Do not become the patient. Because how are you going to use your skills? You got all trained up to be an IV tech, and if you become the patient, and part of their point is, drive safely is one of their points. Don't go out there and get in a big car collision and then you can't deliver the medical care because you banged up the ambulance and you got to go to the hospital now. You're waiting for the next ambulance to take you. So there's a sensible way that we proceed into this and make this happen. but we need to think this all through. So again, please pray for us. Our mission does need your prayers now. There's things going on with the banking, our event planning, with our partnerships, with our volunteers. The whole shooting match is coming under challenge right now. So pray for us. Please share. Like if I could see John Petro Sr., if I could see you share this on your LinkedIn profile, share this out to your Facebook feed, we'd really appreciate it. And we are in need that I need to ask for this, and consider your time like John, even if it's during your shows on Friday, if you could put out a good shout out to projectdiehard.org and anything else you can do, John, please do. Whatever anybody can do, any little bit of time. I knew already 15, 20 years ago, they taught me in nonprofit management that basically people, as far as volunteerism, the trend was events. So like our Hope Stock, the point is like maybe for a Hope Stock weekend, maybe they'll help Project Die Hard for the event and then be able to do the event thing and then walk away without a commitment. We knew that 20 years ago already. Huge trend, to all of that. So with what we need to do throughout the year, we already know we need to make a lot of the volunteerism eventful, that people can plug in, they can look on their calendar and say, yes, I can help for the Paul Bunyan Project, or I can help for the, fill the can, project, so on and so forth, and help on a certain day at a certain time, make an appointment, feel good, you help the organization, and then go back to life and then reboot and figure out, when you can offer that next set of hours, type of thing. We already know that. The incidental volunteerism is helpful because if we get 20 volunteers that offer a few hours at a crack, we now just racked up 60 hours because people are in this mindset. So pray for us, share the mission, share it on social media, share it when you can through the grapevine, whatever you can do. Go ahead and let us know if you can volunteer and to consider your financial resources, whether it's throwing a dollar, like sometimes when you pass the hat, you throw a dollar, whether it's $1, $10, $20, $22, whatever you can do, every dollar is appreciated, because if we have 1,000 people saying they can't donate $22, well, then we just lost a lot of money, not taking a dollar per person. So whatever it is, the ultimate goal here is to get patrons who commit to $22 a month ongoing. And we know there's a lot of people out there that can do that. $22 a month, 12 months a year in and year out, and to be our patrons that keep that financial resource coming. So we ask you to help us find those financial partners. And we want to get to know about you. We want to know your story, how things tick for you, what's happening in your life, because this is a community. We're building a community here. So we have our, headquartered out of Paducah, Kentucky. We got a forward operating base in McCann, Illinois. Whoever can help us out of those local communities, we need that. We need to find more people in the local areas. And we're building up this virtual capacity. I'm in a lot of conversations where we're talking about international. Brian just talked to me about an Australian partner I conjured up. And it's kind of like, well, how is that person in Australia exactly? We know it's possible, but the leadership wants to know how exactly is this going to happen? Because we don't want to put all our resources or give attention to this Australian partnership if they're just really going to do their thing in Australia and we're not going to really feel their love over here in the United States. Makes sense. But that's just it. We need to talk it all through. We need to figure out how we coordinate it, get it down to the bottom line, and create an outcome that really matters. And we really are counting on you. So again, thanks, John Petro Sr., for announcing that you're on. We got a couple other people on here. We had that fourth person. We had 4 viewers off and on there for a little bit. We appreciate all the viewings out there. Again, keep sharing it. I'll mention it at my in-person event tomorrow night. That a boy, John. There you go. That's how we do it. We know we have to keep beating the drum, because if we don't, we wouldn't have had someone like John Petro Sr. making that pledge. Thank you, John Petro Sr. That's what it's all about. Great example. And so right now, I'm going to switch to the ending format, which is we're always about, what are we going to tell our veterans out there that are in struggle, that are in these dark places, that are finding it tough to hang on, to look at their own self-worth is challenged in their own heads. I came from the Happy Neighborhood Project posting party, and so we're looking at all these different posts. And this River Easter, she posted about no, give me some flexibility here. I'm probably not going to do as good a job as she could, or going on to her profile and reading exactly what she posted. But the idea is like, throwing ideas that bring us to our dreams, throwing them in the trash can, and the idea is that no matter what brings it down, that, we aspire to something, we dream it, and we come up with, crazy ideas, whatever. And then, we shoot it down. And then all of a sudden, the analogy is we put it in the trash. But it's like, no, if this is something where you're in that happy place, you're aspiring to this is going to be better, and you got some ideas. Okay, sure, you're probably thinking of some practicalities, like it's not real that it's going to go that way. So she makes a point to say in her events and in her methodologies and, how she does things, she breaks it down to say, if you really get down to what was holding you back on that, you change it up to build it back up so that it'll work. So I've said that many times, that the more you realize how you're not going to do something, the closer it gets you to, if you think of it this way, if you empower yourself to say, that's just going to get you closer to how you are going to do it. And, just the experience of living life can be that way. That you can self-sabotage, you can be hard on yourself, and then have all of this chemical stuff going on, the brain actually changing on you. So physically, this is manifesting, like, death is coming upon you, and it's like you're getting closer and closer, to that. And I can only suppose it, so some of this might actually be insulting, because I don't know. I've never been in this low of a place to really know how to properly speak to suicide ideation, or to, fighting the demons, or something in those depths. I just have been at enough events that I've got my own interpretation, which might be very inaccurate, but it gives me guidance to say, whoa, yeah, I can't imagine being in your place. If you are holding on by a thread, or sitting there like with nothing to hold on to, the idea is, we're here to speak to, please hold on. Please hang in there. Please let your survival instincts kick in. Please look at giving it time, a day at a time, a part of a day, whatever it may be. I told the story before about Edwin Edinbury, with the chief happiness officer of the Happy Neighborhood Project, and happiness is a default position. He'd go out and he'd ask people to commit to being happy for a day, for 24 hours, and then when the 24 hours is over, renew the commitment. So it's like wash, rinse, repeat, wash, rinse, repeat. That whole thing. So that's what we're asking for here. we're hoping that our work here is a little beacon of hope, just in knowing that you have a team here with Project Diehard. My email address, kurt@projectdiehard.org. Phone number to call and text, 262-372-1754. You can come up with whoever out there, just anyone, like we have Chaplain Dave. It might be somebody at a church. It might be, clergy at a church you reach to. It might be, and if you're really in these depths, it's, please call the suicide hotline and get that initial help. But to all the veterans having a tough time with PTSD and so forth, there's a lot of recreation programs. There's our program to get out to the haven that is Forward Operating Base Rush and, help us figure out how to get you to the property and enjoy it, to get out by the pond and to get out into the trees and, to hang out in our 10,000 square foot facility. Spend some days with us, volunteer. They always, that's what Edwin always says about happiness too. Go volunteer. That's a real human experience when you volunteer with whatever. And volunteerism can be really simple. It can be a random act of kindness thing, holding the door open. All of these little things can add up and to give the time. And I'm very impressed by the response we're getting. Lots of emails being shared, lots of phone calls. There's a lot of stuff going on with our purview here at Project Diehard and with the Disability Channel Veterans First Initiative. Please give us a chance to show you, how you have people that have your best interests in mind. There's a lot of it going on all around the world, all around the country. And, and I hope it's a connection that we can make here with you at Project Diehard Mission Monday, this live stream we've created and other things we do, like down 15 minutes of music and motion. We're trying to put as many nuggets and pieces as we can with the limited team that we have, with the limited resources, a lot of freebie stuff that we can put out there, just using social media and phone and email and just going with what we've got, and just hoping that you can all work with us, to help us reach more people. But as I said moments ago, it's about taking care of ourselves first. And sometimes taking care of ourselves can be through someone receiving our help and then having that gratification to be like, wow, I just helped that person. That feels really good that I was able to help a friend, next door neighbor, someone in close proximity. We can make this as simple as possible. So, folks, I hope I was able to serve the purpose tonight. That's what the Spirit moved me to do and say, and actually kept it going longer than I thought. I see now we're at 38 minutes, 38 seconds. I thought I was maybe going to hit this at about 25 minutes, but I really got into what I was saying and repeated myself and said it from all different angles. So you got the 360 version today. So with that, as Sue likes to wrap up, here at Project Diehard, we thank you. Take care, everybody. We're looking forward to seeing you.